Hi guys, so it's April. I'm going to try and make this video fast. It's a story time. The reason why I'm going to try and make it fast is because it's quite late and we're losing daylight. And I don't have any very good lighting that I can put there. So, I wasn't going to make this video, but I put a poll on Twitter asking if you guys would like this video, and more people said yes than no. So, I'm making it. Fuck it. It's probably going to cause a lot of shit. I was going to put screenshots next to me, but then last minute I thought that's going to be a bit too far, so I'm not going to put screenshots. Well, I might do. I might change my mind during editing, but at the current time of filming this, I've decided no screenshots. And this story time is going to be about Ben. Now then, most of you will know by now that me and Ben broke up. And in this story time, I'm going to explain exactly what he's like, what he's done, why we broke up, and everything that led after that, if that makes sense. I'm very pissed off, you might have noticed. So, yeah, I've also got a cold, so if I sound a bit stupid, I sound stupid anyway, but in case I don't sound quite right, that's because I've got a cold. If I sound stupid, that's just me. I'm going to try and not edit this video too much, for the reason being it's quite a direct video, if that makes sense, with a lot of feeling. It's been over a week, so I think I should be fine making this without crying. We'll see. So anyway, I met Ben on Tinder over 6 months ago, well over 6 months ago now, and our first date was at McDonald's. We'd been speaking a week before we met up properly. We'd video chat every single day. We'd video chat every second of every day. We were never not video chatting. It cost me a fortune in data, because when I was walking home from uni, I'd be video chatting him, and it was great. Okay, I loved it because he just seemed to love me so much. But when we first met up, he told me, and this is key, he told me he was a virgin and never had a proper girlfriend. But he had a bit of a girlfriend before me, but it wasn't a serious relationship. So and she was crazy basically. So if I get a message off some crazy girl saying some shit, then I'm to just ignore her entirely because she's insane. And I thought that was a bit strange, but of him to say, but he seemed like a pretty decent lad up to this point. So I didn't really call him out on it, and just let it be. I love being ill. So anyway, that happened. We started dating. It was very good. We spent almost every single day together. He's in the army, and his base was near my uni at the time. So we spent every day together almost, as you may be able to tell by the vlogs. He'd come pick me up after uni, and we'd go to Domino's to get pizza and eat it back at mine and watch a film. It was great, okay? Or we'd go to the pub and he'd give me shit for drinking. Like, seriously, if I had one drink, he'd kick off pretending I'm drunk and I'm unstable. But he did it in such a way that at that point in time I didn't really notice, if that makes sense. I just kind of felt bad for having a drink. I didn't really realise how bad it was until I looked back on it and thought, well, I'm an adult, I'm allowed to have a drink. Anyway, we're not at that point of venting it. So anyway, the relationship went well, very well, until, and then when I finished uni, I came back here to live in my home. It's getting quite dark outside, shit. And all was good. He came to visit just as often, almost every week, well, once every fortnight now. And then the other once a fortnight, he'd go and see his parents, supposedly. He'd go and sleep over at his parents' house, which I was fine with, and spend time with them, which is fine. Because they're family, you know, I don't want to be dragging him away from his family. Oh, that's hilarious. And then, you'll see why. And then, when I went on holiday, we said to him if he wants like, because when we went on holiday, you'll remember my last holiday, it was to Crete, I do believe. When we went on holiday, he was coming up to leave from the army because he was going to be, and then after he'd gone off leave, like a fortnight later or something, he was going to go live in, I'm not saying where, because that's too far. I'm not saying on the internet where he lives. He was going to go live quite far away from me. But of course, previously he'd told me that he'd be able to choose where he lived, but then he later told me he didn't have a choice and was moving there, which sounds weird, because originally he did tell me that he was going to live near me because he'd applied to, and it was accepted and everything. Turns out that was bullshit. I haven't scripted this video or thought through it, so sorry if it's a bit hard to keep up. Anyway, so all that happened. You might want to listen through this video a few times to actually get where I'm coming from. So then, where am I up to? Holiday, yes, holiday. Also previously, whenever he went to his parents' house, he never messaged me at all, apart from at night, quite late at night, like 1, 2 a.m. And he'd just tell me that he couldn't have spoken to me all day because he was spending time with his family, which was fine. And at that night he couldn't video chat because it would wake his parents up, even though he'd previously told me that his bedroom was like outside in some sort of shed, which sounds a bit weird. Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but if my parents are sleeping in the bedroom in the house and I'm outside at the bottom of the garden in a shed, my parents won't be able to hear me talking on the phone. So I don't know what the deal was there. Also, he plays on the Xbox full blast. So I'm sorry, but you know, that story made no sense. Almost as if he was trying to hide something from the people he was with at the time. Now then, when I was on holiday, that was like at my final week of the holiday was the first week of his leave from work, and I said to him I'd like for him to go home and spend time with his family, but if he doesn't want to do that, he has a key to my house. He's more than welcome to come and sleep here. And that's exactly what he did, apparently. Apart from one of the nights, he supposedly went to sleep over with his friend in a caravan, which was just down the street from my house. And they apparently didn't look at their phones the entire day, and they apparently had such a good time they were in bed by 9 p.m, which sounds a bit really weird for 19-year-old lads, but in bed for 9 p.m, but whatever, I chose to believe him. And aside from that, he was sleeping here every day, supposedly on his own. I got quite worried about him because I kept messaging him saying, you should invite Joe to hang out or something, because surely you don't want to be on your own literally the entire week. But he supposedly did. And he said he was sleeping in my bed in here, which was fine. When we got back, the spare bedroom was a mess, and there's a door hanging off, to the wardrobe, so he's been in there for something, but we didn't think what until recently, because there's like nothing in there apart from like old holiday clothes that weren't in there at the time because we were on holiday. Right, so when I got back off holiday, he spent the whole week with me, Monday to Friday. Now, he said he was going to spend Monday to Sunday with me up until that point, but then for some reason he said that weekend he'd like to go see his friends, which I was fine with, up until he said that these friends lived right next to the army barracks he was moving to. So then I was a bit pissed off, because I was like, you can see them every single weekend, whereas you're going to live quite far away from me. So, and you're going to live quite far away from your family, so it's up to you, I'd rather you spend it either with me or your family, okay? And then any other time in the world, you can go see your friends, because they live a 10-minute drive away from your army barracks that you're going to live in. So, you can visit them anytime. You can go out for pizza with them, like, after work or every single weekend if you want to, but, you're not going to see me or your family, so you should go see one of us. And then he quickly changed his mind and went, yes, I'll go see my parents. But then he accused me of not letting him see his friends, which is bullshit. And we spent that whole week, Monday to Friday, together. And I was also a little bit pissed off because that Friday night I was working and he'd promised me that he was going to drive me to town after work when there'd be no other transport that I could get, because my friends were going out drinking and I haven't seen them in like a year. It's my old college friends I haven't seen in like a year at that point. So I was really excited to see them, and of course, since he changed his mind and said he was leaving that day, I was unable to see them. But I was okay with that because he said it was because he was going to see his family, and I don't want to be dragging him away from his family, and family are more important, I guess. So I was okay with that. So Monday to Friday we had a wonderful week, it's on YouTube if you want to see it. And we had a lot of fun. Yeah. Then he left to go supposedly see his family. His family live quite far away from me and even further away from where he's going to live. I don't understand why he couldn't have spent that whole week that I was on holiday with his parents, because that would make more sense. And then, you know what I mean? When he was staying at my house also while I was on holiday, he had a bit of a kick-off with me because we didn't leave him food, but we didn't even know he was going to be staying there, and it's a bit cheeky. He was living here rent-free, and he complained that we didn't leave him food. Why couldn't he just walk to the fucking shop and get himself some food? He was living rent-free. Anyway, so all that happened. And he before he left, he told me that he would come see me every single weekend because it was only a 3-hour drive. He would stay here Friday to Sunday because he doesn't work weekends. And it was going to be great. He didn't keep to that at all. One day I messaged him saying, hey, you need to come a bit more often because you said you'd come every weekend, so far you're not living up to that. And he argued against me saying, well, it's very far. I'm like, okay, well, I'd at least like you to come see me once a month, okay, for 1 weekend a month, Friday to Sunday to sleep over. I think once a month is fine considering it's a 3-hour drive. I think that should be completely fine. So he agreed to that after an argument. He didn't want to agree to that. He also told me that at that point, out of anger, that he won't see me for a month in August. Well, no, in August he won't see me for quite a long time because he's moving to, Russia. He's moving to Russia for 9 months to do security work or something in the army. Which he said control the borders or something, which sounds like a load of shit to me. But it didn't come across to me that he was lying, possibly. But anyway, I was like, yeah, okay. And I was quite upset about that, so I said to him, before you go to Russia, I'd like to see you at least twice. It'd mean a lot to me. And he was like, well, I'll see what I can do. Like, no, you would. And he was like, oh, I'll see if I have time. No. Well, what are you doing on weekends? Nothing. Do you have friends? No. Right then. So, what are you doing on weekends? Nothing. Well, if you're doing nothing, you should be able to come see me twice within the space of 2 months before you go abroad and I don't see you for 9 months. So, after an argument, he agreed to that. I don't think I'm asking for too much there, but apparently I was. And a few friends said that I apparently was. I don't feel like I am asking for too much. And then he came and saw me once, which was like the weekend after, the weekend before last weekend, like the 4th of August or something. It was like that weekend. And he wasn't quite right with me. There was something weird about him. He'd changed quite a bit. He just seemed different. So I talked about it to him and he just ignored me. On the Friday, me, him and Leah went swimming at a water park like we've done before. On the Saturday, I arranged for me and him to meet up with his grandparents, who he said he hadn't seen in like 3-4 years. So I was quite excited for him to meet up with them because he kept saying he'd love to meet up with them again since he hasn't seen them for years. But alarm bells rang when we actually met up, and they gave him a hug and said, "Oh, it's so good to see you since we haven't seen you in 2 months." Or was it 1 month? 1 month, I'm pretty sure. So he lied to me there. That's quite a big lie. So I ignored it. I was like, okay, he over-exaggerated by quite a lot, but fine. And then we had a meal, and then on Sunday we went to like an animal park and went to see animals. It was great, it was fun, and we also had McDonald's before he dropped me off at work later on, and then he went back to work halfway down the country. Now the day after that, Monday, I was still quite upset about the way he'd been, because he was a bit shitty with me that entire weekend. So I messaged him saying, look, I'm really upset, and here's a list of reasons why I'm upset. You know, and there was quite a big list. I'm not going to read it out because some things are quite personal, but one of the reasons was he was always making fat jokes about my weight, and I'd told him numerous times to not do that because it really upsets me, and he just kept doing it anyway. And I can't think, you know, the other thing was he only agreed to see me at least once a month after an argument. You know, there was all kinds of things like this that I think are quite valid reasons to be upset. And he just said, well, we may as well break up then because I'm not going to change. So I was like, so you're not going to fight for me? And he was like, well, no. So I was like, okay, then we've broken up. And he sent me this message saying, please thank your parents for doing everything they did for me. And I'm like, what a dickhead, because previously my parents had fixed his car for free. Yes, they had bought him and installed a new gearbox and power steering for free after he completely trashed his old ones, saving him thousands of pounds, losing my parents thousands of pounds. So I was really pissed off with him, you know, because it just seemed a bit shitty, him saying, please thank your parents for everything they've done for me. Like, it just seemed like it was a bit sarcastic, really. And then on the following Sunday, which was like last Sunday, I think, I was sleeping over at Leah's house. In the morning I woke up and I saw it said that he was in a relationship with this lass. I'm not going to say her name for confidentiality reasons. And I was confused. I hadn't seen his profile in ages. It's just that his grandma had drawn it to my attention, because she said, oh, so she texted me asking why we'd broken up. So I looked and it said he was in a relationship with this other lass. The entire week I was hoping that he'd message me apologising, and if he had done that, then I would have gone straight back with him, and I would have forgiven and forgotten everything, but looks like that didn't happen. I messaged her out of anger, just saying hi. That's essentially all I said, and she said, and then like she replied an hour later. She replied an hour later saying, why did you add me? And I explained, you know, it's just out of anger. And she's like, why are you angry? So I explained, you know, I'm really sorry for messaging you. And basically we had a conversation. Turns out they had been together a month. He had been cheating on me with her for a month. And he still had dating apps on his phone that she had just got him to delete like the day after. So he was cheating on me, and it looks like he was cheating on me throughout the entire relationship. And now that, but since, you know, I only got proof that he'd been cheating on me for that month, but she had said that he still had dating apps when they got together that he was using. And, you know, it's one of them things where throughout the entire relationship, if I picked up his iPod or I picked up his phone, he'd freak out and shout at me and tell me to get off it. I have no right to be on it. And I never questioned him as to why I wasn't allowed on it, even though he's allowed on mine whenever. For the reason that, you know, I didn't question it because I trusted him. So I just let it slip my mind. But now I realise that'll be because I'd see the messages from him to other lasses. Throughout the entire relationship, the entire over 6-month relationship, he was cheating on me. I was gutted. I sent her all the screenshots between me and Ben just to warn her of what he was like, and just said, sorry about all this shit that's happened. She told me that she's still staying with him, and she still is with him, even though he cheated and he did a lot of stuff. Bad stuff, very bad stuff, like one of the things on the list I could probably get him arrested for. So, well, I definitely could get him arrested for it, especially since he didn't deny it. So, but it's a bit too late now to be doing stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot more to this story as well, but I just don't really want to go too much into detail and waste too much of my breath on him. That final weekend that he spent with me, he didn't really want sex, which is a bit unusual for him. Turns out he'd been fucking her all weekday. Lovely. Also, me and this girl discussed him, and also I got a message off someone who supposedly knows him. I got a message off someone who supposedly knows him on Twitter. Turns out he hasn't been home since, the very start of April. I think they said, the 5th or 6th of April. And every single time he said he was at his parents' house, he was actually at other lasses' houses, sleeping with them. And I never knew. And that explains why he couldn't talk to me on the phone during this time as well. And why at night he couldn't talk on the phone even though he was in the garden, because that was a load of bullshit. The reason is because he didn't want his other girlfriends to find out that he has another girlfriend. He doesn't want to be talking on the phone to his girlfriend while he's sleeping next to his other girlfriend, does he? Because they'd find out. They'd wake up. And, often at night I'd wake up and see him on his iPod, but I just rolled back over and went back to sleep because I just thought, he just can't sleep, it's fine. So obviously he was using this time to message his other girlfriends. And, I remember once at a cafe, 2 months ago maybe, we sat down in the cafe and his phone came up with a message, and I looked at it and straight away he took it off the table and shouted at me for looking at his phone. And how dare I try and read a message on his phone. And everyone in the cafe stared at us and just looked at me as if to say, why are you with him? And I felt at the time that I was doing something wrong. He constantly undermined me like that. I wasn't really allowed to drink. He'd kick off if I drunk alcohol. I don't drink that much, for Christ's sakes. I used to when I was with Belinda, but since Belinda, I drink maybe once a fortnight, and even then I don't get drunk. So it's so what was he having a go at me for? He also used to tell me he couldn't talk to me. Not talk to me. I couldn't meet his parents because apparently his dad was schizophrenic and would attack me. And I said, well, that's not how schizophrenics work, But he said that that's just the way his dad is. So for my safety, which I straight away thought was a load of bullshit, but I just went along with it, whatever. And now obviously that is a load of bullshit. It's ridiculous. This person who messaged me on Twitter said that his dad really, really wanted to meet me as well, because I sounded like a nice person. So it's a shame that didn't work out. It's a shame Ben is the way he is. It's a genuine shame. When I messaged this lass originally, and her and her friends referenced me as the crazy ex. So it seems like, and she said something about me never sleeping with him. So it also sounds like he does this a lot. He told her the exact same story he told me when he first got with me, that he was a virgin and he had a crazy ex-girlfriend who means nothing to him, so ignore the messages. it was like that. So it's like he's constantly retelling the same story. So he wasn't a virgin when I met him. He wasn't. He had like a million girlfriends before then. Also, I noticed when I first got with him, he barely had anything on Facebook, like barely any pictures of him, etc. And that like seemed weird, but I just thought, well, he probably just doesn't use Facebook very often, which he did. And of course, pictures piled up of me and him. Then when he got with this other lass on Facebook, the entire profile was cleared again. So it seems like this is a constant process of clear Facebook, get new girlfriend, cheat on her a bit with other lasses, tell her that you're a virgin and she's the only one you love, because he used to message me every day telling me how much he loves me, and he would never cheat on me because I'm the only one for him. And then, you know, it seems like this is a constant process. This is just what he's like. And since when I was on holiday, he spent a week here, completely alone apparently, how you can spend literally every single day in a house on your own, no one in, and not leave the house at all, I don't know. So, and the spare room was a mess, so, and a theory, this is just a theory, so I have no proof for this, but no one else was in the house at the time, and he said he didn't bring any friends around, so me and my mum have a theory that while we were on holiday, he was using this house as a bit of a doss house and sleeping with other girls in the spare room. Which, fair enough, he might not have done that, but I can't see any reason why the spare room was like that if he was on his own, which makes me feel sick to my stomach that he was sleeping with other girls in my house. He made me go on the pill as well, that's another thing. Well, he didn't make me, he just kept going on at me until I eventually did it. Just for him to do this. Once again, there's a lot more to the story than just all this, but I wish to not go on about it much more because I'm just very angry about it all. I might leave some notes about it all in the description in case, in case while I'm editing I think, oh, I missed that bit out. So yeah, he also used to tell me that he had depression and would kill himself if we broke up. Not trying to be funny, but well over a week's passed and he's still alive, so also he showed no signs of depression, he didn't go to counselling, he didn't have medication or anything, so he lied about a lot of stuff by the looks of it. All my family loved him at the time, so it just seems like he pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. He's very good at manipulation, and just no one saw it. Also, whenever he came over, he wanted to hang out with my friends more than he did me, and he'd spend most of the time playing with like a toy car, and he'd always be buying new ones because he'd always break them. He was just, or he'd prefer to play on the Xbox than watch a film with me, but then he'd say he loved me, and I just took his word for that and just let him get on with it. Yeah, I think from the very start of the relationship it was a plan that either me or him would move away, because I don't think he wants long-term relationships. I think originally he thought, ooh, uni girl, she'll be moving away soon so we'll have to break up. And then when I eventually did move away, he realised, oh, she doesn't live far away, I'm the one that needs to move away. Also, one of my friends did message him asking why he hadn't cheated on me and didn't just break up with me instead, and he just replied with, because this girl lives 20 minutes away and April lives 3 hours away from me and I don't like breaking up with people. What an arsehole. Anyway, also he started stalking me on different social medias and got different social media profiles on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And it was obviously him because he had his name in it and stuff like that, so that's a piss take, but oh well. Every time he does that I just message this lass like, hey, can you tell him to stop following me on this please? And then he does it, he stops following straight away. So I'm like, right, so you are who I think you are. Yeah. So leave your comments, asking any questions about any of it, and I will answer, probably. Let me know what you think to this video. Like if you agree he's an arsehole. Please don't dislike. Share the video if you want. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Links are down below in the description to social medias if you want to message me or follow me. I'm hungry now, I need to order food. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a nice day. And goodbye. Great, I've just dropped my memory card on the floor. Right. So I've just finished editing and I've just remembered something. Quick thing to note. Also, which upsets me, is before he'd supposedly go to his parents' house, he would borrow money off me. And I could never understand where all his money, all his wages were going. Now I realise when I lent him money that he never gave back, he was actually... I was funding his dates and his condoms. Wow. Yeah. Also, when we broke up, his grandma messaged me basically saying, move on, you're a nice lass, move on, and you'll find someone better. Now, that's a weird thing to come from your own grandma. Also, it sounds to me a lot like she knew what he was doing. Like, this is a regular thing for him. Oh. Thank you for watching. Bye.